The Big Rich Live on the Mic radio show on YouTube. Saturday and Wednesday every week. Catch that fire. Twitter at BR Live on the Mic. Instagram and Facebook at Big Rich Live on the Mic.
Big Rich. Yeah. Big Rich. Big Rich. Big. So where to begin? The bipolar goon in a padded room, consumed by the coming doom. The return of Christ at noon split the world in two. Dude pursued the cool until he ruled in 2077. His life's due. The tomb of the devil erected in my room. He resurrected and reunited with the fools, the Hutus in 94 and Ouagadougou in 2016. I see the clues, the Ku Klux Klan in the form of the neighborhood.
Big Rich here, Big Rich Live on the Mic radio show here on YouTube, back again. Hoping that everybody had a productive and wonderful week. Hump Day, Wednesday here. By the time it goes on, it'll be late Wednesday, early Thursday. We trying to get it together. So, thanks for giving us a break on the timing and stuff like that. But we're trying to get it together. First, before I even start, I'd like to ask, if you could share this to your media, your social media, like, share, subscribe, each one teach one type thing. Basically, you hit the share button, you hit the subscribe button, stuff like that, and you share it to your Facebook, your Twitter account, LinkedIn, that type of stuff right there. It helps us push the brand, it expand the brand, do what we can to touch as many people as we possibly can. And basically it's no cost to anybody. It's just basically hitting that like button, that subscribe button, stuff like that. So if you could do that, I'd surely appreciate it. I'll be internally in your debt, and we can make it do what it do and expand this radio show to infinity and beyond. I think that's what's that? That's one of them cartoon characters, something like that. Excuse me. What we're going to talk about today is preachers. I've gotten a lot. I start my shows off all the time. To remind people that I don't make up the subjects. I don't make up the platform, if you will. I don't do anything like that. Basically what I do is I read all your emails, every last one that I get. That's Big Rich Live on the Mic at gmail.com. Your direct messages, your DMs on Instagram, which is Big Rich Live on the Mic _ between each word, or through Twitter back and forth, which is at capital V capital R Live on the Mic. And what I do is I categorize everything, and the ones that have the most, those are the subjects that I talk about. I hit the last couple of shows, it's been like one, maybe two subjects, because it's like overwhelming. It's like you get a lot of feedback, a lot of questions about, well, what do you think about this? And I don't like this, and I was offended by this, that, and the third. So the preacher thing it came up probably around February. No, after that, it's way after that, probably around April or May, when I was really contemplating, doing my own show, after helping out, other people, on their shows and being guests and being, quote unquote, expert commentators because of my law enforcement, military background, that type of stuff right there. And it really hit its crescendo when you had the preachers, when it was quote unquote 100 black pastors, meet with Donald Trump, which there was like 25, something like that. But anyway, that was the questions going back and forth and stuff like that, and religion. And I must admit, I am reluctant to or not am, I was very reluctant to talk about religion because I'm one of those people who is not very religious at all. You know, I have no quote unquote denomination, but I'm very spiritual. I have long since accepted the Lord Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, and I understand my commitment to His teachings and what is expected for me, you know, as a man, as a human being, that father, you know, that type of stuff right there. So I take it very seriously. I mean, one time when my mom passed, God rest her soul, when I actually got saved, I was, you know, in the choir, in the male chorus. You know, they asked me to be a deacon and all that type of stuff. And see, I don't play. The one thing I don't do is I don't play with Lord, you know. And I knew I was out there still doing my dirt, you know, and I just could not see, you know, representing, you know, the Lord and His teaching and His wishes, and I'm a whore, you know, and I'm doing my thing, you know, lying and cheating and stuff like that. You know, I just don't play with that. You know, I'd rather walk my own journey and take my time and basically put it in His hands to when I get to that point. You feel me? So I'm very reluctant I was very reluctant to comment on that, just because of that, you know, because, you know, you don't want to use generalized terms and pretty much anything. You try not to use generalized terms. Sometimes when you have an overwhelming majority of a particular cause or particular people or something like that is doing a particular thing, then you can get away with using a generalized statement. But for the most part, you really should stay away from using generalized statements. But last week and over the weekend, the beginning of this week, we had something with Pastor Burns. I think he's the pastor out of South Carolina, I want to say, where it comes to the forefront that, you know, he was just straight lying about his bio and stuff like that. You know, so it's basically up to that crescendo again. So I've seen that I've gotten a lot of emails and a lot of tweets about that, my opinion and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what, hey, we'll take this particular show to delve into the controversy, you know, my personal opinions, you know, on religion and, you know, the quote unquote, and, you know, I don't like to curse, but, you know, you have to use this Jive A Preacher, you know, that Jive A Preacher moniker. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to chop it up and go back and forth, and I'll be very excited to hear your views and opinions and stuff like that. You know, if you agree, disagree, why do you agree, why do you disagree, that type of stuff right there. But we'll talk about that. Now, when we talk about preachers, you know, televangelists, these type of mega church preachers. You know, when I was growing up, you know, you had your Tammy Lee Faye Bakers, your Billy Grahams, your Benny Hinn's, these type of people that were, to me, charlatans. You know, basically, you get on TV and you quoting a couple Bible verses and you talking in a tone that it runs and cuts deep within people's hearts and their souls, and you become what they call in the Bible a false prophet, where you have people basically giving you money to quote unquote minister to the flock. But what they fail to understand is the preacher, the televangelist, is living better than everybody else in the flock, if you will. You know, you can't tell me that if you are the preacher of a congregation, of a flock, which is what they call it, you know, some people call it, everybody in that flock should be able to live a comfortable life. You follow what I'm saying? It shouldn't be a situation where you're driving Bentleys and wearing Versace's and all of that type of stuff, but people within the congregation, within the pews, are barely able to make rent. They robbing Peter and Paul. You know what I'm saying? Basically, that's what it is. So to me, you know, it's a sham. And see, now you done moved to like everybody seems like they got a daggone church, you know, from the Pastor Burns that we're talking about, and we'll talk about his embellishment, and I'm just using that word to be respectful. I mean, his basic lies, that's basically all that was, you know, to Pastor Scott, you know, to Creflo A Dollar or C Dollar, whatever he is, you know, to even TD Jakes to a lesser degree. You got people like Creflo, you know, who had a private jet, who did a GoFundMe page to get a $65 million jet. To do what? To do what? What is that? What is that jet helping the people who's giving you the money? You follow what I'm saying? I mean, it's just really, you know, if you know, I don't like getting biblical or religious on this channel, this show, but Jesus Christ hung out with peasants. You know, he didn't sit around there and ask for money and have a building fund and all that other bull crap. You know, so if you're saying that you are teaching the word and you are representing the Lord Jesus Christ, then why is it that you flossing and driving cars that other people can't, and there are people within your congregation who don't know where their next meal coming from? But are you saying, okay, we've raised, let's just say I have a mega church and we've raised $500,000 in a week, you know, with televangelist and stuff like that. Well, how much of that $500,000 is then going to the poor? How much of that $500,000 is going back to the congregation where you can help educate kids, where single moms and single dads and even mother and fathers that are working 2 and 3 jobs and they need after school programs, how much of that money is going to that? You know, so you sit back and you ask yourself, you was like, okay, this seems like a hustle to me. A stone hustle. And then the whole thing with Pastor Burns, I want to say Mark Burns, look it up. You know, it comes to find out that he said he was in the military. He was never in the military. He was in the National Guard. Which to me, okay, I'll give that to you, because the National Guard to me is the military. Now, he said he was in the Army, you know, the reserves, which is different than the National Guard. But okay, he embellished a little bit. But then he said he was part of fraternity. Never was part of that fraternity. He said that he had a bachelor's degree, never had a bachelor's degree. He is in this seminary school for a master's degree. Well, if you don't have an associate's degree and you don't have a bachelor's degree, how the hell are you in somewhere trying to get a master's degree? You know, you ask yourself, you like, okay, you know, I think one of his statements was that he felt that if he didn't embellish, that's what he used, embellish. No, he's lied. If he didn't lie, he wouldn't necessarily be taken seriously. Now, that very well might be true. You know, I mean, you know, some people feel that they need to have certain type of credentials, you know, to be listened to. But see, as you get to the point where you are listened to, when you are making an impact, if you will, and your footprint is expanding, now you have to take, you don't even have to retract that stuff and say, you know, I lied about this or I embellished about it. Just take it down. But he just kept it up. And see, the thing was, he might have forgot about it. You know, when you get that big, and let's just say you put that up, he was trying to say he put that up in early 2000. So let's just give him 2007. I don't know, but let's just give him 2007. So that's almost 10 years ago. You big, you flossing, you not checking your emails and stuff, not emails. You're not checking your website or your bios and anything like that. So you forget about it. But the fact of the matter is, you can't put yourself out there in a position of authority where people are looking at you and your stuff ain't tight. You know, there are misnomers, untruths, flat out lies within your bio. So now it then becomes, oh well, the media is pissed off at me because I'm black and I'm stumping for Trump. No. In this case, they on you because you flat out lied. And then instead of saying, hey, when they brought it to you, instead of saying, look, hey, I did this, that, and the third, it'll be taken down. You keep moving it, and then you sort of force the conversation. Let's move on. You get up and you leave, and you look and sound stupider than you was from the get-go. So when you start thinking about these types of things, when you start really digesting the whole religious hustle, if you will, you sometimes ask yourself, well, what do I do? Where do I go to get salvation, if you will? Where do I go to get the true word? You follow what I'm saying? Because you have people who take bits and pieces of certain religions. I mean, when you talk about preachers, this goes with the I forgot his name, preacher, went in. He doesn't like homosexuals. He doesn't like the gay and lesbian lifestyle. So he wishes, well, actually a couple of them wishes death and murder, and they're going to hell and this type of stuff. And then I asked myself, I was like, well, I read the same Bible you read, and nowhere does it say, and I am no way, shape, or form a Bible scholar, but nowhere that I saw that it basically says that you, as a human being, you as a fellow Christian, needs to talk down to another human being in some type of damnation. It says love thy neighbor, even if this person is a non-believer, atheist, a devil worshiper. You are still supposed to love that person, because that love hopefully then brings that person back into the fold, and then you can help that person to salvation. So it asks you, well, what Bible you looking at? And the thing is that religion is so deep that you have people who really don't know, who really wants to come to a quote-unquote pastor, somebody who they feel for some reason has a better connection to the Lord Jesus Christ, which I do not believe. I do not believe that, and this is my personal opinion, I do not believe that another human being has a better connection with the Lord Jesus Christ than anybody else. What I do believe is that there are people, many people, who have a better understanding of the Bible, of the Word. I do understand that people in their own inner workings for their own salvation has a better understanding, has a better connection with what is required from us, what is expected of us. I do believe that. But as far as you telling me that TD Jakes has a closer relationship or a better relationship with the Lord than me, I vehemently disagree with that. We all have a connection. It is what you plan on doing with that particular connection. You can't run from it for the rest of your life. You think you can, but you can't. But we got off on a little tangent as far as I can say. We're talking about that these preachers who give other preachers a bad name, really give preachers a bad name. You have Dr. Reverend William J. Barber from North Carolina. He's the president of the North Carolina branch at NAACP. I've listened to this man's sermon. Not once does this man talk about him. What can you do for me? What can you do to build my platform? What can you do so I can get to XYZ? Where I can have a private jet, where I don't have to go through that type of stuff. It is what he and others can do for you, which encompasses him also. See, that's the thing is, when you talk about what I can do for other people, those other people include you too. You don't, if you save, let's just say you save 100 people, and those 100 people get put on a boat, if you will, just using it as an analogy, it doesn't mean you stand on the sideline. You in the boat also, unless there's more people that you want to reach out to, that type of stuff. So you sometimes are in a position where you paint everybody through a broad brush because of the bull jive that is going on with these jive ass preachers, with these people who don't know anything about the word, at all. A lot of these so-called preachers, I know more about, because the Bible is based on common sense to me. Now, I know there's some stuff in there that you read, you be like, huh? Some of that stuff, think about it. If you believe in that type of stuff, that stuff was written hundreds of years ago, maybe thousands of years ago, that type of stuff right there. So a lot of the verbiage is not used now. In the context of when it was used and when it was written, it probably made perfectly good sense. But you're not stupid. You use your common sense, and you can pretty much work your way through what is expected of you and what you need to do. And you, using your common sense, can realize when somebody's full of shit. But unfortunately, you have a lot of people who will follow these. Will follow these charlatans, these false prophets, and give them every dime of their money, thinking that they're some way, somehow, some form is going to give you salvation. Wake up. Do the research for yourself. Challenge everything. And when I always say challenge thing. I say challenge what I say. Don't believe what I say just because I say it. Everything that I say, go dig it up. Go dig it up and find it out. Could find out if it's the truth or not. I'm telling you it's the truth. That doesn't mean nothing. If you find something that is said to you, something that is taught to you that is not true, that you find out is not true, then it is your responsibility to check that person, to put out the proper knowledge. But people just blindly following these so-called preachers and pastors is ridiculous. I have no idea why. I really have no idea why. It is that flock thing. It is, like I said, that blind is where you are being led around like sheep. Just sheep. You think about things. And no, I'm not even gonna go there. I'm gonna do that. That's more of a political tinge. We're gonna do that on our next show. But why aren't these things that these so-called preachers say checked? Confirmed. And when it's found out that is a lie, a false truth, a omission, then that person should be checked about it. But see, the thing is, you throw softballs. I think our media as a whole has failed us miserably. Media is almost like entertainment and not media. When the forefathers did the Constitution, when they talked about freedom of speech, freedom of press, this was a direct attack, if you will, of the regime that they had broke away from with the British. They wanted to be able to say what they needed to say. They wanted to be able to report what needed to be reported. Freedom of the press wasn't about who Kim Kardashian is sleeping with or what album is this person putting out. Freedom of the press was basically for the government, for the press to keep an eye on and report about the government in all its forms, as well as powerful people. You follow what I'm saying? To make sure that things are not being taught that shouldn't be taught. Things that are done shouldn't be done. And when it is done, it should be reported. We've gotten away from that. Sometimes when you have exposés and stuff like that, you have them once, maybe twice a week or something like that. You really don't have. Every day there should be some type of breaking news on some type of program that's being being left behind, or some type of pyramid scheme, Ponzi scheme, some type of hustle going on. These are things that need to be reported. But when people are in that position where, okay, well, we're not going to bother that, you have these jive ass preachers, if you will, come up and you say and say whatever they want to say and not be in check. I mean, Bishop Eddie Long, this man sat around, and he's from Atlanta. He sat around and talked about homosexuality and homosexuals like they were nothing. All of this time, he's sleeping with young boys within the congregation. Okay, not only did he do that, okay, not only did the flock, because it ain't come out of his dollars, the flock, if you will, pay these young men off, and some of them are not young anymore. But you still have a vast majority of cats that still follow this fool, and they be like, oh, well, he made a mistake, and he's fallible, he's a human being. Dude, everybody makes mistakes, okay? But if you in a situation where you are doing that type of stuff, you don't need to be in the head of anybody's church, period. I'm not saying that you can't do a lecture circuit or whatever, but how do I put my salvation in your hands and you like this? Do you think that was the first time he did it? Do you think that was the only boys that he did? There was another preacher, I can't remember his name. He from Orlando, when I want to say, went to New York, some type of conference, and wind up dying of overdose, something like that. Rumors, again, it's just rumors that he had high-priced hookers in his room, and he was sleeping with the flock and all of that type of stuff right there. These are people who we put in a box. You put them on a pedestal like they better than you, like they know more than you. Really? I have a problem with people who misrepresent the Lord. I have a problem with people who, under the guise of being a pastor, this, that, and the third, willing to say whatever you want to say. My thing is this: you have a responsibility. If that's the how about I put this? If that's the road that you want to go, you have a responsibility to be more than yourself. More than yourself. You have a responsibility as a flock. And I feel that you have a lot of so-called pastors that don't deal like that. Don't feel like that. Don't deal that way. And they need to be dealt with and called out. I have no sympathy for Burns. I have no sympathy for Pastor Scott. I think he's Cincinnati. Where they calling him a sellout, because he is. I have no sympathy with Eddie Long. He's a pedophile, and he's a homosexual. Period. That's how it goes. That's what it is. I don't have any issue if you want to be a homosexual. You've been a homosexual. Everybody understands my position on that. But you being a pedophile, I got an issue with that, and that's what you are. You need to get help. First of all, you need to go to jail. That's the first and foremost. Then you need to get you some help, because do not think that all of this, he didn't go to jail, they had to give up some money, he was shamed. He just was on Steve Harvey's show maybe 4 or 5 months ago plugging a book, again, to make more money for his shaming, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Well, I I put out a book, to sort of explain my salvation, how me and my wife got through it. I wanted to vomit. I'm like, this man is not being sincere. He doesn't have a sincere bone in his body. But you have people who will follow him, to the ends of the earth, and they will be like the blind sheep. It's just how it goes. So that was basically my opinion on that. It's going to be a really short show today. I got to get ready to head out. We're going to Gainesville over the weekend. My boy, Marlon McClain, we're going to see his son, who is a senior, starting safety for the University of Kentucky Wildcats. They're playing the Florida Gators this weekend, so we will be in Gainesville. So there won't be a show Saturday. Sorry about that. What I probably will try to do is I'll try to do a brotherhood show. It's like a little filming while we're there, because it's going to be 6 of us. And we'll chop up some game, talk about a whole bunch of subjects, and then probably what I'll do is I'll post that as a special edition Sunday night, Monday morning when I get in. I think that'll be cool. They don't know about it yet. They probably gonna know about it now because a lot of them watch and listen to the show. But we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna chop it up and just discuss all sorts of things, all sorts of subjects that are relevant to not only us but the world as a whole. So we should have a really good time on that. So look forward to that. I'm not making any promises because they could basically tell me to kick rocks. They're not gonna have any choice, but they could tell me to kick rocks. So there won't be a show Saturday, but hopefully I'll be able to put all that together, and we'll have a show, a special edition show Sunday night, Monday morning, that type of stuff right there. Either way, I'll put some type of video up to let you know if it's coming or not, because I don't want people to be excitedly anticipating and then something went wrong over the weekend and I didn't get a chance to film and shoot. So on that note, we're out of here. Again, let me give you the thing. Our Instagram is Big Rich Live on the mic, _ between each word. Twitter is capital B, capital R, Live on the mic. And the website is www.bigrichlivonthemic.com or www.darkshadowmediagroup.com. And finally, our email is bigrichlivonthemic@gmail.com. So chop it up, join the conversation, let us know what's going on. Put any comments or critiques and stuff like that down below at the bottom of the video. And I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a great week and a better weekend. So until you see me again, stay blessed, stay safe, stay informed. Peace, and I'm out.
It's the Big Rich Live on the Mic radio show on YouTube. Tune in every Saturday and Wednesday for hot news and opinions, you dig? Like and subscribe and follow us on Twitter at BR Live on the Mic and on Facebook and Instagram at Big Rich Live on the Mic. Join the conversation and catch that fire.